that they gonna come back home and till their own garden.
Yeah.
Because if I'm tilling somebody else's garden for the majority of my career, and that's what happened.
You'll never make any real money.
No real money.
Right.
And I came home. Go
And the
ahead.
thing is, it lessens the effectiveness of the black community, because if you really look at the fact that's what we've done throughout our existence is we've made money for the majority race. That's all we've done. And the thing is, we've made them wealthy.
Absolutely.
And then we've made money, but we haven't become wealthy because all our emphasis, they've gone through and they've picked out the cream of the crop in everything.
Right.
And whereas you're doing that for Price Waterhouse or whomever, that kind of thing. What if you had been doing it for yourself?
Exactly.
You know, and that's the thing that I always, you know, wanted Hunter's legacy to be, is that people look at him and say, okay, he came out, this took a chance. Hunter was going door to door, selling insurance from door to door out of his car.
Right.
Going and fooling with little kids and saying and knocking on the door trying to get them to pay and asking the kid, is your mama home? And the kid said no, and he says, well,
Debit insurance.
You went that debit insurance.
Yeah.
And so you went and lied to Santa Claus with you, and they said, Mama, Santa Claus is at the door. you know, using that kind of, I'm talking, he's busting his butt, but he was for independent insurance agency. He was making money for an independent insurance agency.
Right.
So he had the vision to say, well, why am I going to make money busting my butt running up and down the road, going in the neighborhoods that a lot of them couldn't go in to sell? Why don't I do it for myself?
Absolutely.
And so his vision was, oh no, I'm like my dad, I want to make my own money. So that's how you got into it. And that's what we need. We need more black folks to say, sure, I got the talents and abilities to go over here and work for this company, that company, and the other company.
Right.
But no, I can make this money myself. So I'm going to take these talents and abilities I have, team them with someone else with talents and abilities that I don't have, and we're going to build our own institutions. We're going to build our own businesses and set aside our own nonprofits and that type of thing, and increase enhance our communities instead of waiting on them to do it for us.
Yes.
Because you know, even if they invest in our communities, they're going to do it on a small scale.
That's right. It's gonna be tokenism.
That's right.
Have you ever been to Durham, North Carolina?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. Durham, North Carolina is where historically Black Wall Street, and those of us that's in the insurance business know about North Carolina Mutual.
Yeah.
North Carolina Mutual, which was started in Durham, North Carolina. I knew the last president, his name was James Speed. He's no longer the president. In the old building, which is the first African American skyscraper in the United States, was just sold about 3 or 4 years ago. And their book, they had a great book, because they didn't replenish the book in the rank, they had to be delisted off the insurance and sent over to a receivership to manage a book that was eons wide. And so when I look at downtown Durham, and I say to myself, as great as our men and women have been in our community, what is our game plan to make sure that whatever I've done outlives me? You know, what is our succession plan? The number one threat to national security in the United States, Mr. Batts, both of you, is something called the silver tsunami.
Silver what?
The silver tsunami.
Okay.
It's the number one threat to national security. What that is you have 78 million baby boomers, your generation. It only have 40 million of us. So it goes from 78 million to 40 million, right? Now we,
Generation
Tanisha and
X.
I, Generation X, we had 80 million millennials. So it says, I pour you out a blessing that you won't have room enough to receive. So if you have 78 million people, the civil rights generation, who sweat, bled, and died to do this, right? Well, retirement and death is inevitable.
Sure.
So one day I'm going to retire. And I'm going to expect that my son or your son or somebody in the community right. But what I've seen in my own church, I love my church. I'm 53 years young. Okay? But I've seen people take the mantle of responsibility with them to the grave. And they didn't groom nobody.
Right.
You groom somebody. Because the reason why I'm here is because she brought me.
Okay.
I'm gonna
You understand what I'm saying?
hold on, let Miss Bessie.
Go ahead, Mr.
Is he gonna pay you some money?
He don't
Listen,
It's a
I want you to
consultanship.
keep all you can keep.
Keep all you
But
can
then I want my portion.
You want your
and
portion too.
There you go.
That's
I'm
Mr.
sure-
Bass.
I'm sure you remember that part.
That's
right?
Mr. Bass.
He's gonna get a portion.
Yes.
There you go. There you go. But that should be normal though. We should be happy.
It should be. Well, what you gonna pay her out of that? She gonna be happy as hell.
I pay him, Mr. Bass. He, you know what I'm saying? I pay him. He comes in and he makes sure my business is right and open up opportunities and make me make money.
Well,
You know?
that's good.
That's a good
Yeah.
To pay her now.
He,
No. Yes, sir, I won't.
All right.
I won't. You know,
Get Tom and go to come over there with me. You gonna be in trouble.
no, you're not gonna be in trouble. When you come,
Yeah, you gonna be in trouble when you.
when you come, you're gonna be coming to say amen and hallelujah. Well done, my good and faithful servant.
Yeah.
You've been faithful over a few things, and what?
You didn't give me what you supposed to give me over what I needed. I got it all played out. I wrote that down a few minutes ago.
I know that's right. I know that's right. You know, so now the technologies that we're looking at, two companies I worked for at one point. I worked for Sprint Telecommunications, and I was what you call a co-location project manager. As a co-location project manager, the antennas that you have in the back,
Yeah.
right? Co-location is like rent. So every different carrier, so Sprint, AT&T, whoever, Verizon,
You're renting from.
they rent from you.
Sure.
Okay, and so I was a co-location manager, and we built with American Tower. We built over 100 of those. My lodge, for example, is the only African American Prince Hall Lodge in North Carolina that owns our own cell tower.
because he made the lodge,
Because-
he positioned it to the
Yeah,
Yeah.
I said to the lodge, I said, you know, I was a young master of the lodge at the time, and the lodge was doing fish fries and this and this and this and this.
Oh, yeah.
And we said, listen, we appreciate all the fish fries, but in my generation, we don't want to do fish fries every weekend. And so we had a piece of land, and the land was not generating any revenue. So at that point, I was working with Nextel Communications, which got bought out by Sprint, which just acquired T-Mobile, right? And I said, well, I got these connections. Why don't we go ahead and connect to American Tower and do a test to see if this would be a good location to put in a tower? So we brought in the guys. They did a test. We paid them. We brought the guys in. They did a test, and they said, you know what? Not only is this area a great location, but it was primarily in the black neighborhood, and they said that we don't have enough coverage
Right.
in this area. So then we went ahead and we worked with them. We built the tower. American Tower came in, and when they built the tower, they paid us rent for like 8 years. We had a 20-year lease with them. Then after 8 years, they said, well, you know what? We really like to go ahead and pay you in cash for the rest of the 12 years that's on the lease. So they wrote the lodge a check for about $320,000.
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay, they wrote us a check. Then what the lodge did is we went and found the oldest black building that was on historic marker, and we purchased it right across the street from the amphitheater, and we paid for it in
That's what we-
cash.
Y'all argue with each other about how much you gonna pay.
You're right. So he already knows.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good Baptist man right there.
Oh, yeah.
Sound like you were the treasurer.
I'm the person who go out and look for the person who's gonna negotiate with me.
Okay.
That's what I do.
So my question is that how do we, as generations of men, we love our women, you know, but you have blazed the trail of example. You have blazed the trail of example. When I heard you speak about economic development, you know, and you know, when I see the development, the mixed use type of development that's happening around your downtown hospital corridor, where you grew up, and how people are. Where we are, we went from R4, which was 4 residential units an acre, to R10. So anything inside of our belt line, they're not doing R4 no more. So that means everybody's going vertical. And so as we look at that, I took the liberty to look at where you are. I said, y'all are sitting on top of the #1 economic empowerment zone in Alabama.
Yeah.
Tax credits, new market tax credits, low-income housing tax credits, job development tax credits, opportunity zones.
Sure.
You know, and going back to my premise that I was saying to you earlier, is that there's no inability for us to attract what we need. My father often said to me, Mr. Spatz, that the plan is worth more than the money. Because if you put a good plan together,
You gonna make the money.
you can hold money. This is a good plan because it don't leak. But what good is us to search for money if we don't have a plan that can retain it
That's right.
and then have some redundancy?
Right.
Because if the first shell breaks, the redundancy in the nuclear reactor is threefold.
Sure.
Where nuclear reactor has 3 cores. So a plan within a plan within a plan. So if this one doesn't go awry, it's like you having more than one line of revenue. And so because this line of revenue is slow,
Sure.
these other 2 revenues are doing good. And so then you can backfill this line until it gets back on point, such that we can build sustainability into what we're doing. So when I
Looking
ask,
for profit.
I'm looking for
Profit.
That's the best.
equity. My father told me it's a
Let me ask you a
difference.
question.
Yes, sir.
Without any equity, you don't have no profit, right?
You're correct.
Yeah, that's profit. What you want.
Okay.
Don't get confused now.
Yes, sir.
Put that in the
I
right.
could see.
Put that in the right tray.
So it sounds like to you that's a good thing.
That's a great thing.
Amen. Amen.
I'm serious.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And
Okay.
you got to share some of that with some of the people who you can lead into other areas that will feed you. I mean, that's what you got to. I mean, you know how to do that,
Right.
but you got to pick up all of the little trash along the way.
You do. And a lot of times in our community, and I really appreciate what you just said. The devil is in the details. And sometimes in our community, the small things, what I call Achilles heels, we take them for granted.
Oh, yeah.
And we can't take, my grandmother used to say, you sometimes you see that cord on a piece of clothes. She said, baby, don't pull it, cut it.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Put it in just,
Because if you pull it, you can have a nice suit. But if you pull that one little thread,
oh yeah.
your arm might fall off on your suit.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
That's right.
unravel.
Yeah, it's gonna unravel.
But you got to know how to wax that stuff together.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So get back to the question, Mr. Bass. What do you want to see done? What's the future?
What's the future?
He gonna have to show me the future.
Tell
You
what's the
gonna
future?
As far as relates to his particular business, the overall community, what?
Both.
However, both.
Well, really,
In your own way.
I think the future is that black folks going to have to make a concerted effort. Not only black individuals, black institutions going to have to make a concerted effort to get more into businesses. We can't continue to sit around and
Shoot fat.
Yeah, that's right. And,
Yes,
and
sir.
like you said, the devil's in the details. But black folks, let me change that back. We're going to have to get more into the details of how to create wealth and that type of thing. We'll have situations where black folks will say you'll come up with a pyramid plan and black folks will jump on that kind of thing. But we've got to look at what's the need. How can I fulfill the need as far as different businesses are concerned, and get into them? We've got to even get to the point where we look at our youth and say, okay, we need to start. You remember when after my high school days, and I was volunteering at the chamber. Hunter used to be the chair of the chamber, and I was on the small business committee. But we had things where we sponsored junior achievement and that kind of thing. You
I was in
talk
junior
kids, yeah. You talk to kids about going into business and that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. We got to do more of that in our community and that kind of
Okay.
thing, and get more black folks involved in businesses and then get resources, make resources available for institution churches, churches, lodges.
That's right.
Other thing. Hunter and I went in a group in a club at one time, and it had been in Huntsville for years, and and so we wanted to take the clout that the organization had
Right.
and do some things as far as the community is concerned.
Right.
But you had some people that wanted to rest on their laurels, and they didn't really want to do anything.
Right.
And being that Hunter and I were both of a business mindset, our thing is, well, we're wasting our time if we're not going to do anything that's going to grow in as far as the community is concerned.
That's right.
So really, individuals, institutions, black individuals, black institutions, that kind of thing, we're going to have to start becoming more risk takers and getting into businesses and creating wealth, and then developing generational wealth, so it go from one generation to the next, to the next, and next, and that kind of thing. So when our kids grow up, their thing is, okay, I'm going to work in my dad's business, or I'm going to work in my uncle's business, and that type of thing. Because that's the only thing that whites really respect is money. If they know that Hunter's thing was that Hunter was at the table all the time because he had businesses.
That's right.
The thing is, they didn't know whether he was Democrat, Republican, Independent, or whatever. All they knew is he owned business.
That's right.
And he was invited to the table. He was like I say, he was chair of the Chamber of Commerce, first black to ever be chair of the Chamber of Commerce. He was on the Industrial Development Board. He was on the Railroad Board. He was on all these boards because he was in business.
Right.
It's hard for you to be really effective in the community if you've got to go to the Redstone Arsenal and work from 8 to 5.
Right. You don't have the freedom of movement.
You don't have freedom of movement. It's hard for you to know what opportunities are out there if you're working an 8 to 5 job every day.
Right.
People that like Hunter took advantage of the fact that he was in the insurance business. He was selling insurance to WUP. The owner of WUP says, "You want to buy this station?" He was there. If he was working, if he didn't have the business, if he was working somewhere else, 8 to 5, that opportunity never. It was just on passing because, never had.
And
His thing,
Blue Goose.
that's right.
The Blue
His thing
Goose.
is that he owned, because he owned his own insurance agency, he needed to rent space. He rented space in a bank building initially and that type thing. And then his thing was, well, why am I going to continue to rent? So he got with a couple other guys, they built their own building.
That's right.
But that's what we've got to do going forward. It's you've got few black folks here going into business, few black folk here going into business, but it's got to be, you expect in 2020, if he was doing that in 1970,
Right.
that it should have been an explosion by now, that you'd have businesses in Huntsville coming out of the wazoo, more than just mom and pops.
I can help. I want to help you do that.
Okay, we're gonna get you
I'm serious.
More than mom and pop type
You have to.
businesses. We're talking about businesses that can really garner a whole lot of money, kind of thing. Huntsville, Alabama has one of the highest per capita in the Southeast.
I'm chairman of the Industrial Development Board.
Lord have mercy.
Right behind
I see
Atlanta.
a lot of stuff that comes to
That
town.
comes into
Yes,
town.
sir.
He knows everything that's coming.
I'm serious.
I believe him.
And I meet with them once a month, the Industrial Development Board,
Okay.
once a month. And I have a secretary and a lawyer
Right. Right.
that works with me.
Right.
And you'd be surprised what they do.
I wouldn't.
I'll be honest with you. It's amazing. Now, I've got 8 people on that committee. 9 of them would love to have my position.
I wouldn't doubt it. I agree.
It's only 8 of them.
Lord have mercy.
But 9 of them would like to.
9 of them want the position. But the way I do it is the fair way for example, on the Industrial Development Board, we have several companies that are building stuff in here now, and we ended up owning it.
I believe it.
Most amazing.
Because they're there and they see the opportunities, they can take advantage of it.
Right. That's
That's what we've got to be. That's the position we have to put ourselves in. That so when opportunity presents itself, we're there and say, "Oh, okay, why don't we do that?" And you know, we've got to start trusting each other. You know, we've got to
Yes.
so that we can develop groups to invest in different things together and that kind of thing. We just like when Hundley and two other guys got together on the building, they had to trust each other. That,
That's
okay,
right.
we're going to do this a 1/3 kind of a thing, and we got to trust each other. We can do this thing, and we can make money off of it.
Partners.
Let me show you something. You see this right here? Mr. Bass, this is Internet 2. This is called the backbone of telecommunications in the United States.
Okay.
My background is in telecommunications and utility infrastructure.
All right. Now, how you gonna teach us?
I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you better than I can tell you. See this right here, Mr. Bass?
Sure.
Each one of these dots, there's not one. It started on the campus. This Internet 2 started on the campus of Stanford University. This runs the whole telecommunications, audio and video signals for the country. Internet 2 is considered Star Trek because if you ask 1,000 black people about Internet 2, maybe 2 people heard of it. Okay, but what you're sitting on in terms of being able to originate signal, right? From what you're sitting on, and also being in this zone that you're in, you're sitting on a place where if you have your own switch, that you can run this. Satellite TV, cable TV, Internet Protocol television, and OTT. OTT is like Roku,
That's what we just
Fire
bought.
Stick.
Yeah.
And so we just invested in OTT. So she's going to have her own 24/7 television network infrastructure. But what happens is right now we're doing it through a lease scenario. And what we need to do is we need to move from leasing the cloud to owning the cloud. A lot of people don't realize that the cloud, everybody talking about the cloud,
And that's what we
all it is a bunch of computers and servers in a room somewhere that post up to the site. So here, right here, it says the 4 flavors of television, right? Satellite TV, cable TV, Internet Protocol television, and OTT stands for over-the-top television. But when you scroll down here and we go to the FCC, this says broadcasting and broadcasting satellite services. Okay, so then when I scroll down, it talks about broadcasting services, it talks about international audiences, it talks about non-federal international, but when you go down a little bit more, it talks about domestic audiences, the AM broad, or AM, right, which you have, FM, you see what I mean?
You already got 50% of what's needed.
We
That's on the
already-
list of menu of services.
So what you do is the goal is to make your current infrastructure stronger, because now what we can do with technologies that was 50 years ago, it's like one of the things I noticed about the Chitlin circuit. A lot of people don't know that the Chitlin circuit is where most people who were paying attention, that led to what we call the Black Wall Street, the block. We have a campaign that's called Buy Back, Fix Up, and Rebuild the Block, because a lot of these blocks in our communities where we used to have businesses, they've now gone away.
Now tell them about the ESOP model.
The
The ESOP,
ESOP
model.
model.
ESOP.
ESOP stands for Employee Stock Option Plan.
Right.
Okay.
The ESOP model is the #1 model in the United States used right now to preserve ownership legacy, as well as create a scenario to where